Welcome back to Karis Investment, where investments are made simple. Welcome back. Yes, indeed, guys. We have a junk video today of Neo, of GameStop, and of course, Apple. Now, I will go over Tesla as well briefly, but you guys know where I stand with these companies. There are a lot more companies I'm following, but I just want to narrow down the list. I told you guys that I'm trying to cut my list down to minimize the overhead to make sure it's easy to follow. But I have breaking news right now. Stay tuned to the video to understand what's happening in the market. Right now, I've been following these six companies for the day. Now, I've browsed through a few other companies so far, such as Xpeng, Sense, um, Intel, and a few other companies offhand. But today, I want to talk about Neo. We can see that Neo is down today just below 2%. At one point, we see for a day low of 37.26. We can see right now it's trading at 37.75. Now, guys, it is still a good pickup for anyone. I was hoping that the price stays low because I made a few swings. Now, I told you guys that I have been trading big time on Apple. Um, I've made a few profits here and there. Now I let you guys know. It hits 118, it hits 119. I believe that was just last week or week before. And I says, guys, every time I see Apple test 119 or if it retests 120 per share, it's a no-brainer for me to keep getting shares. Now, if we take a look back here, let me start with Apple first, because obviously this is my favorite company in terms of high profit and sustainability over the years. Now, if we take a look back for this month, we can see there were huge opportunity for anyone that was trading Apple. We can see back on March 15, that stock was looking to be recovering, right? We can see it went up to a day high of 124, and we thought, hey, it was recovering. But then we saw back here on March 18, we can see it was down at 120.32. And if we follow the next day, at March 19, we could see it breaks that 120 and goes back into the 119 range. And then obviously March 30th, with the huge uncertainty, we see that it breaks 118.90 to as low as 118.86. Now, at that point, guys, I let you know that the only way from that point was to cross back at 130 per share. I'll let you guys know my goal for that swing is that it will break $130 per share. Now, we saw that it went up as high as 135, right? That was a great opportunity. Now, as I told you guys as well, in my strategy, what I've been doing, if we look back here on March 8th, March 5th, we can see when it breaks that 116 and it breaks that 117 and goes low. I let you guys know that each time I see Apple in this pattern, I just keep on adding shares over and over. It's like a bank account. I mentioned in my other few videos that you can't go wrong with Apple. You just have to enter in the trade at the right time and sit and wait until the stock slowly comes back up. Now, we don't have to go into too many technical details about where it's retesting, the ceilings, the floors. Keep it simple, guys. My ultimate goal in this channel is to make investments simple for anyone that's watching. Now, if we take a look, we can see in the last 3 months run from back in January when it was breaking that and at 145, which I believe it will retest back 145, if not 160. A lot of people are anticipating that it's poised to break even higher. I told you guys my goal for Apple in the long term run is to see if Apple could slowly goes to that $400, $500 per share. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to understand this is a process that if you are investing long term in a company such as Tesla and Apple, you have to be patient. Now, I told you my story back a few years back with Tesla. I went in when everyone was counting Tesla off, and the stock plummeted from I believe it tested the 400 for the first time, but then it crashes down to like 178, 182, whatever the price is. And I got in at 189 and I sat and be patient. And we saw that 189 becomes 980, right? So that was a huge 900 on like 780 to like 800 profit. And then obviously with the pandemic, we saw that the stock came back down in the low threes, and then we're able to go back up again. And with the split to hit 2000, and with the split, we're able to test 900. So it's all about patience in these trades. You can't really look at the short term goal and let it blinds you. If you take a look at Neo, it was the same thing as well, right? If you look back in Neo, 3 years back when I first started trading Neo, right? If you guys were seeing this impossible chart here, right? I sat and I wait to recover on the loss that I made previously in Neo, because I got in Neo earlier when not many eyes were on Neo. When everyone took Neo for a joke, especially an investor on Wall Street, everyone took Neo for a laughing stock. Right? We saw when the stock went up to like $10 per share. I was one of those guys that got in the middle and then didn't want to sell. I was hoping for Neo to generate that 60 and 50 at that time back in the 2019, but instead it didn't. Right? I saw my investment go as low as $1 and like 45 cents. But instead of jumping ship, I bought in more shares, and I was able to profit when it goes up to as high as what we see, the 65, 66, whatever the price is. So it's the same goes for Apple right now. It's in that stage that we're waiting for anything new to happen in terms of the like smart car. Which guys, if you see the stock right now, 133, for sure, if Apple have any announcement with any legitimate announcement of this smart card, then we will definitely see this stock price at least go 250 per share in the long run. So at least I'm looking at personally for myself that this investment will go at least up to 250. Now, if we're considering the fact that I'm coming from a long time in Apple, have gone through multiple splits, right? Have gone through so many splits, and then as of late, we can see I've kept I kept adding shares, like specifically in the last year. Um, with the unfortunate situation of the pandemic, the stock price was so cheap, it allows me to buy more share in the company, which in turns allow me to have a better position. So I do have a ton of shares that I'm going long term with. I don't have to sell ever if I don't want to sell. These shares just continuously making me money regardless. Now, guys, take a look at Apple. What you guys need to realize with Apple, guys, is that if you just keep holding your shares, we can see right now we have a dividends payment of 20 cents per share. So meaning that it drops compared to what it was like in 2020, obviously because of the situation. So in a situation, if you guys have let's say you have 4,000 shares right now, you're looking at least like $800 for every time there's a dividends payment. You got four per year, right? So if you take a look, for example, in 2020, you saw in February, in May, in August, right? We saw those payment, and in November. So at least if I have those shares holding, right, at least I could make at least like 3,200 a year just holding, right? It doesn't matter how long I hold them for, right? I could hold it for 10 years if I have to, right? Just keep on getting that payment. But the ultimate goal is, think about it, if the stock moved from 130 to say 500 in say 4 or 5 years or even 2 years, right? That investment goes up more. So that's why I tell people that you can't really worry about the short term play right now. And with Apple, it is a long term investment that we need to consider. You know what? Just leave it there, and then we can go from there. Now, if we take a look now and we look at Neo, for example, on the other end, Neo is still in its infancy stage. If we take a look, similar to Tesla back in this time, Neo is actually doing pretty good, right? If we're considering where Tesla was in this stage in their situation, we can see the news that they just crossed that 100,000 cars or vehicle in general. That's a huge milestone. We can see the tweet by Tesla Elon Musk as well, congratulating Neo. It's a big milestone, and this is why I said, guys, let's keep it simple. The stock will fluctuate in price. Now, if we take a look back, as I said, in the last 3 months, we can see since January, it has been done on a downtrend. This is no news to anyone. This is just common sense. But if we understand that, hey, the stock was trading at 40% higher earlier, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and we know and the companies still have a huge upside, then it's a great opportunity for anyone that's investing to still hold their shares until that time comes. Now, guys, I cannot tell anyone to sell or to keep. But what I can tell you that I am keep buying Neo if it goes lower. I see a few. If we look back in March, we saw when it breaks that 32, and we saw again when it breaks low. Each time it breaks 34, or if it breaks in 32 or 30, I just keep adding more shares to my portfolio. Now, yes, and there's always a risk. So we cannot say there's no risk. There's always a risk that we have to endure, and that's part of the investment. However, in the long-term goal, my expectation for Neo and my goal is to at least, I'm not looking at the Tesla price as say, okay, 500-600 per share or 800 per share. But I believe that Neo will and can reach anywhere from between $250 to $400 per share if everything goes as planned, if the market trajectory is actually in place, and if the ultimate goal continues to lowering carbon in terms of the economy, in terms of the environment. We have to see if China wants to become a world power, then definitely they will still thrive to lowering carbon, and that will help Neo to push as far as they can. Just think about it, guys. The market in China alone will help to propel Neo to a big step in this EV game. Now, just imagine if the and the exporting of this start to pick up in Europe, right? This will start to help Neo to have another milestone. And think about it. I doubt it, but just imagine if Neo is now being allowed to be exporting cars, say for example, to Canada, right? That is a big step. I understand the US may take a time, but to Europe and to Canada and the relationship with China and those companies and those countries have right now, it's still a plus in Neo favor. And as one of the recognizable brands, and then definitely I could see that Neo have a potential to actually go up in that range that we're looking at in the next, I would say, year or two. So again, guys, if you like what you just hear, again, I cannot tell you guys to buy any shares. I can only suggest what I'm doing, what I think. But if you're subscribed to this channel, I appreciate it 100%. If you're not, please go ahead and subscribe now and keep the family growing. Guys, until next time, peace out.